Okay, good morning, everyone. We are going to start digging into the stock market. We're going to look at the charts and we're going to use technical analysis to give us an idea of where markets are heading in the future. So again, nothing's guaranteed here. We don't have any guarantee of where markets will head. Nobody really knows where the prices and charts are going to go. But technical analysis can at least give us some indicators that put the probabilities in our favor. And that's really the name of the game. Put the probabilities in your favor, take trades, and then manage the risk of those trades. And take trades with a favorable risk-reward ratio. All of these are concepts I teach in my course. The course is priced at $99. I don't charge thousands of dollars like lots of other trading people. And it's about 5 or 6 hours of technical analysis training that will give you, really cover all the concepts I cover. So we have lots of big things happening today. So I want to point those out. We're going to start out with a broad market analysis and then look at some of these individual trade ideas, see how those are working out, and then we'll wrap up. So first things first. Oh yeah, one thing I want to point out is the bonds, the long bond, TLT, that's been rallying recently. You can see here, TLT, we've had this big downtrend recently on this daily chart, and we did have bullish divergence. I've talked about it. I don't trade the TLT typically because you got to put a lot of money to work to get any kind of return, and I just don't want to lock up all that money in my margin account to for this trade. So there's other ways to trade, but the TLT is the long bond, and that can give you indications of what the bond market's doing. Now, right now the bonds are rallying, so TLT is rallying, which means yields are falling. Typically, that's a sign that people are buying protection or trying to, exit risk. And you usually want to look for kind of inverse reaction to the stock market. So when bonds are being bought, stocks are being sold. That's basically how it works. So TLT's, had bullish divergence. We had the breakout, and we have been rallying pretty impulsively. Now the stock market, going back to the stock market, it's been pretty resilient, but we're starting to see signs of breakdowns. Now here's triple Qs. I want to start out with tech. Looking at the hourly chart, we've been really moving upward on this in this price channel on Qs. Today yesterday we were at the top of the price channel. Today they gapped down and hit the bottom of the price channel, and it bounced off of that. The buyers stepped in and bought that dip down at support. Now that makes sense. So there's nothing's happened in the tech sector that wasn't necessarily expected. What I'm looking for as a sell signal is a break of this trend line. So I need an hourly break of that trend line. I don't know when it's going to come, but the market and the charts tell me that we are going to get that breakdown in the near future. We might bounce around a little bit more within this price channel, but the negative divergences that have been building, if I show you on the weekly chart on triple Qs, you can see really ever since this high right here, each new high has been a divergent high. That's a divergent high, that's a divergent high, and this is a divergent high. So each divergent high, if you look at the bigger picture, you get a divergent high, you sell down. You get a divergent high, you sell down. Now, we don't know when this rally is going to end, so that's why you don't necessarily want to just short here and now, because this could continue to move higher and continue the negative divergence. So we really want to go back to that daily and hourly chart and look for that break of the trendline support to be our next sell signal. So again, we're looking for a break of this, of this minor trend line. It comes off of it was coming off of May 19th. We've got several reactions on the daily chart. We're looking for a break of that. Again, we continue to trade below the major trend of the March 2020 lows. So that's this red line. We held support all through here, held support. We finally broke. We've been creating this secondary channel with negative divergence. So I think it's going to break. I don't know when, though. So we could continue to rally higher and then break here in next week but I do think that we are going to break soon. Will it happen this week? I'm not so sure. But, we did get a pretty good sized move this morning. But of course the buyers are stepping in because we were at support. We basically gapped down to support, and that's where the buyers are waiting at. On the S&P 500, really the March 2020 lows trend line, you can see we held support through here, held support. This is a daily chart. And then we come into the recent kind of area. We broke trend right here. So there was your longer term sell signal. And then we had a big long back test. And we basically have been getting rejected off of that trend line whenever we hit it. You can see the other day we started chopping around that trend line. Today, gap down, and we're below that trend line. So, the initial reaction off of the support that we hit in the triple Qs, I think, has caused the market to rally so far this morning. I think it's very likely that will fade into the end of the day, and maybe not close at the lows of today, but I think we'll start to see some selling into the close today, and then we're likely going to see some more selling here in the near future. But again, I really am watching that triple Qs chart, and until I see a break of that trend line, I'm just not interested in any kind of major index shorts on the market. And if you want, you can watch the NASDAQ futures NQ. I always have that up, and I just take a look at it. I don't point it out on this channel too much because there's not a lot of retail traders that are trading futures, but it's a good thing to watch. It can help with your triple Qs trading and just your individual stock tradings. And you can see the NASDAQ futures. This is an hourly chart. We've just been working our way in upward channel. The price action this morning was really just a sell-off straight down to support, and then the buyer stepped in and bought support. So no technical breakdowns yet, which means that's why we don't have a sell signal. I need to see the futures, roll over and break this trend line, and I'd like to see an hourly close on a break of that trend line. That's going to be your sell signal. Look for that to line up with the Qs breaking its trend line. And in general, that's going to be the sell signal that I'm looking for when or if it shows up. Okay, I'll flip over to some of these short trade ideas. And this morning, a lot of these shorts, they were all red. This whole entire column was all red, and several of them by quite a bit. So I was taking some profit on some trades this morning, some short trades. I covered a couple, and I'll go through those. So Tesla, this one's interesting. You can see here on the daily chart, we've got this minor trend line right here, and they dipped below it this morning, but they've so far recovered it today. So could be just a false breakdown or a little whipsaw, and maybe they want to rally some more. Until you see that definitive break of this little trend line right here on the daily chart, we're not going lower. But I do think we will get that trend line break. We have had negative divergence that had been building for quite some time. And, this was all divergent highs. And I believe we're starting a downtrend. And as you can see, if I get rid of some of these targets that I have, you can see that we basically have been making lower highs. Here's a lower high, and here's a lower high. And we have a low. Here's a lower low. So we're making lower highs, lower lows. We're downtrending. All right, whether we bounce today and maybe grind around a little bit more and then break, I still think we're going to continue that downtrend. The charts don't tell me anything different, and that we're heading down to about this 463, 460 area. So that's going to be my next target. I'll likely look to cover my Tesla short down in that area. Okay, Charles Schwab, I'm short this one, SCHW. We're bouncing right up into resistance, right here, a little bit more to go actually. But on the daily chart, you can see we had an uptrend line here on the daily, and this is a financial, and all the financials look like they're downtrending, but here's your uptrend line there. Negative divergence on the PPO and the RSI on the daily chart. You look for a break of trend, and we really got the break of trend right about there. The best signal was basically this day. It hit resistance and then sold off and closed right there. That was a good sell signal. And since that sell signal was initiated where I shorted up here, so far it's been down about 7.5%, and about 5.5% as of right now. Now we gapped down below this latest support line, which is about 68.95, and we're bouncing right into that resistance line. So that's actually going to be an objective area to add to a short, especially if you get the daily close below. But that is an objective area if we bounce maybe just a little bit higher, right into resistance, and look for that to get rejected right in there as we continue lower. So I am looking at this to head down to the next level of 62.32, next level of support, and then potentially all the way down here at 51.60, levels to watch. DraftKings this morning, broke down, below its support line, but they rallied it right back up, and so far we're just sitting right on support. So this is a daily chart, and you can see this little trend line we've been walking up. Again, DraftKings has a head and shoulders topping pattern up here. Also up here, it put in negative divergence on the daily, so big negative divergence has actually, this was a divergent high, this was a divergent high, telling you that that we're likely going to reverse trend. And you had a major trend line right here. We held support for quite a while. Finally, it broke. So there's your sell signal on DraftKings. They sell it down, they rally it up, into a back test. It gets rejected. Start to rally it again. It's starting to roll over. Now today they gap it below this minor support line and they rally it right back up. We'll see where the day closes. It is at resistance right now on the hourly chart. So if you get rejected right here and start to roll over, then I would say that is your signal that we're likely going, starting to continue that lower trend. Major support down here at about 35.53. I do think we're going, I do think we're heading down there. I don't know if we'll start today or if they're going to recover this and wedge a little higher and then break. I'm not so sure on that, but I do think we are over time going to get down to this 35.53. And Boyd Gaming continues to trend lower, down 0.5%. It was down a lot more this morning. We do have some support right there at 55.29. We undercut it and closed. We basically are still above it. So if you look at the hourly, you can see there it is, 55. And the gap below it this morning, but bought it back up and recovered support. So above support, we need to see that level go. It's about 55. It's pretty much that 55.20 area. We want to see that level go. If that goes, I think we work our way down to the next level of 50.80. So we'll just watch those for right now. But again, we are downtrending. You can see it's clear and obvious. You're making lower lows and lower highs. So there's your high, there's your lower high, there's a lower high. Here's a low, and now we have a new lower low. So that's the definition of a downtrend, lower highs and lower lows, and we're continuing that downtrend. We'll point out the recent trade ideas, CAR, Avis CAR. So we hit our first level of support. I had that marked out about 72.48. You can see this morning they dipped below it, but recovered it. So I took some profit on this one, covered some of that. I'm thinking we're going to get a bounce here, and obviously we're holding above support. So looking for, maybe even get a back test of the trend line, and then start to work your way lower. So good spot to take profit and let this thing do its bounce and then wait. The next shorting opportunity is you're either going to wait for a back test of the trend line, so up here, or a break of this support level. Those are, anything in between, I really don't want to short, but I do want to short this. I just don't want to short it in between. I want to short it up here or a break of that. The reason why I want to short it and not go long, and yeah, short term on a day trade, then you could go long. You're at support, but I'm more interested in the swing trade here. And you've got a big upward trend line right there on the trend line. You've got negative divergence up here at the highs. We have a break of trend and a sell signal. So I am looking for this bounce that's happening so far today to fizzle out. Maybe we backtest the trend line, but ultimately I'm looking for lower prices over the next weeks to months. Next level of support, there is a little level here at 61.50. I think the major level and probably the final target would be about 51.12. So whether we bounce, I believe we're going to work our way down there. Here's another one, GM. Again, since I talked about the sell signal, this thing on the daily close, this thing already fell down about 5% since you got that sell signal. So there's your sell signal, and that comes off this March 2020 lows on the daily chart trend line. Break a trend right up here. We had negative divergence. There's your divergent high. See the negative divergence. The momentum is dropping, telling you that the trend's about to reverse. So you wait for a break of trend. There's your break of trend, and more. Two selling days following. Now today they're stepping in and buying because we hit that first level of support, 55 or 54. I had it at 54.60. They stepped in a little early, so we're bouncing. So again, same deal. I'd want to short on a back test of the trend line or on a break and a break of support. Right, those are the two areas. But I would want to short this. I would not want to be long. We are below trend. We have sell signals. We have negative divergence. Downtrends don't just fall straight down. They work their way lower, and they fall to support and they bounce. That's kind of how it works. So on this one, we fell to support, you bounce. You break support, you fall to support, you bounce. Things like that. So that's where that's at. Okay, this one, SEAW, SeaWorld. I shorted this. I took some profit this morning, and I'm looking to reshort it probably today. They might even give me the opportunity today. On this one, you've got clear uptrend line off the March 2020 lows. We had a negative divergence starting to build up here at the highs, so you can see there's your negative divergence. And then we had a break of trendline support. So there's your sell signal. Now today they sold it down, but it hit support at 46.43, and that's pretty good support. You can see here the reactions that we had along that level. So we came down, undercut it a little bit, but the buyer stepped in, bid it up, and so far they're rallying it. So it looks like it's going to run up into a back test around 49.94. You know, I'd probably step in a little early, 49.50 area, and that looks like a good another objective area to reshort the thing. So I took profit down here. I'm likely going to reshort it for a move down. Next time we get down to that support level, I think we break, and you know, likely going to head down to this level, 35.83 or so. And it's going to be, you know, it's not going to happen tomorrow. It's going to be in the weeks to months down the road. But, you know, that's swing trading. And MGM, again, MGM, you have an uptrend line here. We started to put in a bearish rising wedge. Each new high was a divergent high. So I have those divergent highs circled. See the negative divergence there on the RSI and the PPO. You then wait for a break of trend. There's your break of trend. We fell to the first level of support, but your sell signal was up here. So if you took that sell signal, even if you waited for the daily close, you know, you're still up by 1.5%, and at the low this morning you're up by 5%. But it's confirmation that we're seeing more selling. So we fell to the first level of support, which is about 39.70. This isn't super solid support. I don't think we're going to get too much of a reaction. But again, so I want to reshort this on a back test of the trend line or a break of that trend line support or that horizontal support. For the next move down, next level of support, there's a little bit here at 36.72, and then a little bit here at 34.04. That 34 area, you know, a 34.30 or so, that's probably going to be my final target for this one. I like that as a major area of support. You can see that area. Oh, let me grab the right tool. That area comes back for a while of some major resistance, and we broke above it. So I think we come back in and test that. Okay, and here's SQ. I talked about this one for a while. So SQ, basically, you've got negative divergence that was building for a while. So on the daily chart, this was a divergent high, and this was really your last divergent high right here. So you can see the negative divergence, how the momentum's dropping or downtrending, and the price was still uptrending, kind of popping, making new highs, and then failing, popping, making new highs, and failing. It just shows the thin, you know, this was getting a very thinly traded stock where it was, and the momentum was shifting. Even though the price was going higher, momentum was shifting. You also have this trend line to watch right here on the daily chart, and that was really the sell signal. So there it broke trend here. This one's, you know, very resilient because it broke and they bid it back up and closed it right there. But the following day they gapped it down and it sold off. So pretty solid sell signal. And then they rallied it back up for a back test. Back tested this trend line from underneath for about a week or so, popping above it slightly. And that's how it works. You're not going to usually just stop right on a trend line. You're going to typically pop above it, run some stops. But this was the objective area to short this thing or reshort it, really in there. And you can see today they are, let me move that. Today it gapped down. It's down, what, 3.5%. And looks like it's, you know, going to start moving lower from here on out. So far that's a profitable short if you took the short in this area, gapping down. And, you know, I think we're going to head down to 193.37. That's a pretty solid level of support. It's right about here. And if that goes, then I've got another level here at 170.68, another level here at 134, 135 we'll call it. And yeah, Major support is all the way down here at 84. That's a ways down there. I don't think we're going to get that far down. That would be if the market's just crashing, basically. If we're going into a complete bear market, then we could work our way down there. But those are some levels to watch on that. So far, it's working. Okay, gold. Selling gold a little bit today, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense from what I can tell in the charts. With TLT being bought, the bond yields are falling, and typically gold likes falling yields. It likes real falling rates, interest rates, and if the yields are going down, that's usually pretty bullish for gold. So this could just be kind of a knee-jerk technical reaction that we're seeing. Nothing's technically changed from the bullish picture, though. So if you look at gold bullion on the hourly chart, they're just selling it down a little bit, but nothing's really changed. We're just kind of chopping around a little bit on gold bullion. Still above that major support of 1790, and that's holding so far. So I don't see anything really technically changed in this structure. I do believe we're still going to continue to uptrend. Some of the miners still need to sell off a little bit, and they're doing that today. GDX, you can see here, this is a mining ETF, gold mining ETF. So you can see that GDX hasn't hit that back test of that trend line, where some of the individual miners have, GDX hasn't. So we're seeing, tests of the trend line again, but I think GDX has the potential to come down, hit this trend line down here. I have it circled as kind of the buy zone. This is really the area that I think would be the buy zone for GDX. So we'll continue to watch that to see how that plays out. There is, we still have bullish divergence still intact. So actually, let me go back and double check that real quick. We don't really have bullish. Yeah, we don't have bullish divergence. We have bullish momentum, and the price is still, moving higher, although we're, low today. But here's the recent low right here. This is where we had bullish divergence. Rallied up, you break this downtrend line, and then you come in for a back test. Maybe we'll grind around here, build some support, and then rally off. So I still like it longer term, but GDX I think could go a little lower. Some individual stocks, though, are hitting that trend line, and today they're just kind of hitting it again. So here's Agnico Eagle, AEM. You can see here's your downtrend line. We have a breakout and then a back test, and it's just one big back test basically, right all through here. So we back tested it, rallied off of it. Today they're selling it down, right back down to it. Now, yeah, we're slightly below there on the intraday chart, but the day's not over, and I think it's likely we're going to chop around here and really close just within this area. So I'm looking for this to hold in this area on this AEM. And, we're going to rally, I think we're going to rally off of it. Whether we chop around and back test some more, I don't know. But I do believe eventually we'll rally off of it once the miners are kind of done selling off. Here's another one, HMY falling to major support again today. So HMY looks like a buy. It looks like a long right here. It is sitting right now at about 379, and the major support is about 377. You can see that was major support back here. So you can see that 377 that we hit, and it was resistance all through here. So it's a major level. I like that level. And recently, as I zoom in, you can see we undercut that level already. We briefly undercut it right through here. Let me get rid of this circle. And then we popped back above it and recovered it. So that was a bear trap right here, because we recovered it, pop above. We're just coming down and hitting it, holding support. So just another objective area to add on to this as I think we continue to work our way higher. Here's a short trade idea. American Eagle Outfitters. They're a clothing store. Not actionable, but it's a trade idea that could play out here in the near future. You've got a daily uptrend line right there on AEO. We have up here at the highs negative divergence. So you'll see here we are making this is all divergent highs, all right. And you can see the downtrend line, how see the PPO and the RSI, how they're downtrending, making negative divergence. So we have negative divergence. We're waiting for a break of trend line support, which would be a definitive break of this trend line. A nice big sell-off candle is what we're looking for as the next sell signal. And if we get that, likely there's some support right here. This is going to be your first level. It's going to be right. Let's see if we can mark that out. It's somewhere right in here. I would say just we'll go right there for benefit of the doubt. First level of support about 30.69. So we don't have a sell signal yet. So this could rally and then maybe break here in the near future. But that'd be the first level of support, 30.69. Next level of support is about right here at, yeah, right about there, 26.06. Yeah, so those are levels to watch. And, you know, if we were to break, let's say we break soon, that's still a drop of, you know, to that second target of 26%. So nice solid drop. And depending on when or if we break, then we'll see where that lines up. So there's a trade idea, not actionable, no reason to short this thing yet. We need to see that sell signal. And we'll wrap up with Freeport-McMoRan. This is a copper miner. There's just some unwinding of the commodity trade, or sorry, the inflation trade. That's what's happening. There's some unwinding of it a little bit. It was really crowded. Everybody had piled into it, and so there's some unwinding. So potential for kind of near-term deflation stuff, which is basically tech selling off and seeing basically a correction in the market. And on Freeport-McMoRan, clear uptrend line right there on the daily chart. We put in negative divergence up here. So this is where I started talking about why I wouldn't want to be long this thing. We then broke trendline support right here, sold down, rallied up to resistance, which was former support, 37.83, rejected, and continuing lower. So next level of support looks like 30.24. And below that, we've got a level here at 23.91. And then a major level of support is a long-term trend line, which we have broken out of, but this goes back to 2010, because this thing's basically been in a bear market since 2010, but it's no longer in a bear market. It's in a bull market now. But we could come all the way back down to that 1767, 1770 area. If it does that, that would be a major buy zone, in my opinion. Of course, I'd look for bullish divergence and all that, but it has the potential to come all the way down there. So we'll watch that. And that's really all I got. So, the trades are working, rallying a little bit today. And so we'll see how today kind of closes out. But watch tech, watch for that sell signal, that breakdown. And then the individual trades continue to work. So sticking with those. Leave a thumbs up, guys, if you find value in the content. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye.